All right, good morning, friends. Hey, I have a little confession to make, okay? I've been at this for a couple of years here on YouTube, and having recorded now to the north of 150 uploads, I have to tell you that I am running out of ideas. So, today starts a whole new series, okay? It's called You Can Ask Me Anything Wednesday. All right, now I don't know if it's Wednesday in your part of the world, but here in SoCal, it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday morning. Dogs have been walked, coffee consumed. I'm ready to go, and I hope all is well in your world. So you can send me your questions. You can either put them in the comments below, right? And everybody can read them. Or you can send them to me at davegoodsacks@gmail.com. davegoodsacks@gmail.com. All right. And here's the deal. If I pick your question and answer it next Wednesday, I will in turn reward you with an hour a Zoom lesson that'll cost you nothing. All right. All right. Gratis. Okay. So let's get started. Here we go. Our first question today comes from John. John writes, my handwriting is so bad. Anyway, John wants to know, why is it he can be spot on? I mean, spot on in tune with his tuner, all right? He uses a tuner, and he can be like just right on the money with his tuner. But the minute he starts playing a song, a melody, he goes out of tune. And when he plays with other people, he goes out of tune. Isn't that a good question? It happens to you too, doesn't it? And I know why. This is a two-part answer. Okay, part one is that when you use a tuner, a visual tuner, like John described to me, he uses it, and I won't mention the brand name. It's excellent gear. There's nothing wrong with the gear. But what happens is when you use a visual tuner, you're tuning with your eyes, not your ears. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Yeah, well, actually, it doesn't seem like a problem because everybody uses a standard handheld tuner or clip-on tuner, or a tuner on your smartphone or whatever, and you tune to the little, bubble or the needle or whatever it is, and you get green lights all the way, and you think, yeah, I'm good, and then you go out and you play. All right, that's the A part. You're tuning with your eyes and not your ears. Now, tuning is a relative kind of a beast, all right? You're in tune relative to your tuner. When you start playing with other people, they might not be in tune. They might not have tuned as well as you. So that's part of the argument. They could be out of tune. The other part of the argument is that your horn, top to bottom of the, the octaves might not tune. You might be able to tune the beast in one octave, but not the other. And sometimes that's an artifact of budget horns or horns that aren't priced, or maybe even a slight maintenance issue. But that could be a problem too, all right? Another problem is that your reed might be a little bit too thin. You might not have a strong enough reed, so that you're blowing way over the top and blowing way sharp or flat or whatever you're doing. I don't know what it is, but when you start playing relative to other people and you have to start using your ears to tune, that's kind of a new skill. Because we all think about tuning as being a visual thing. Well, I hold the thing up and it's, the meter's perfect. No, that's not really it. When you get out in the field of battle, I'll tell you right now, you will find that your horn is not only out of tune relative to other people, but that your ability to make those adjustments is not as good as you had hoped it would be. Why is that, Dave? I'm glad you asked. How about those long tones? You doing those long tones? I don't think you are. Yeah, and who does really? And the thing is you have to. The long tones are so essential. I know they're boring. Did the creator of the saxophone invent long tones? Actually, all wind instruments, just to burn time and piss you off? No. The long tone exercise is so vital. Why? Because it develops all those little micro muscles here that you will need to use to adjust to people when you start playing with people or playing along to a melody where the line changes and you're like, hey, wait, I'm going into tune. Now there's a final thought here, and that is that your saxophone, your wind instrument, all right, this applies to just about any reed instrument, is always going to have notes that are perpetually out of tune. They're not going to be in tune. It's the design of the instrument, the manufacturer of the instrument. So think about that. You've got an instrument that might be in tune in the bottom stack, might not be in tune in the top stack, or vice versa. Might be in tune in the top stack, bottom stack, no, and never the twain meets, right? They're not in tune in both octaves. Good horns generally are. The budget horns generally aren't. All saxophones have notes that are out of tune, that won't be in tune. And for example, on my horn here, this is a 6M, a Con. I should stop bouncing it around. So you can see it's a Con 6M. They call it the Naked Lady. Can you see the lady? She is not naked. I have no idea why they call it the naked. Perhaps there were some that were, but anyway, I digress. Let's grab the note that's most out of tune on my horn, and hold your tuners up, and I'll show you how bad it is. Now you got to know that, right? And you got to note that if you're going to hit that note. In my case, it's an E. If you're going to hit that note, you want to do what you have to do to make it come back down into tune. Generally, that's relaxing and using your air to bring the horn into pitch that works, that doesn't offend the rest of the people in the band. Okay, so let's think about that. What can you do to help? Well, you can tune to an auditory source. Auditory, is that an audible source? Edible source. You can tune to an edible source. No, you can tune to an auditory, a sound. Tune to a sound. If you haven't got a piano would be good. Or a keyboard, actually, because a piano could be out of tune, but a keyboard is always going to be in tune. So, you could just bop along and play notes to your keyboard. You can also find drones on YouTube, drones. I like cello drones. They have them, there's a channel that has cello drones in every key, and you can play along to them, and you can work through the arpeggio, the scale, whatever the key is, and develop that ear, that quick ability that you will need to get the song back in tune, right? To get the song back in tune when you start playing Fly Me to the Moon, on your front porch, or you're playing with your favorite guitar player, and you realize, wow, I'm kind of, I don't get it. I was in tune, but now I'm not. Also, there are some other factors, again, mouthpiece, reed, the atmosphere, is it hot and sunny and dry outside, or is it cold and humid? Is the brass cold? Is the brass hot? It goes on and on and on. But in a nutshell, I want you to think less about tuning with your eyes and more about tuning with your ears and developing those quick reflexes, and then get back to those long tones. All right, that's an order. All right, that's long tones. All right, and you don't have to honk them out. That's an acceptable volume for a long tone. Now, if you have the ability to scream and shout, you can play them at 3 different levels, all right? Piano, then mezzo, and then forte, all right? So think about doing those long tones, because that is really going to help your intonation, along with tuning to an audible, not edible, but audible source, okay? Hey, questions, davegoodsax@gmail.com. Send me your questions for next Wednesday, too, if you would. And again, if I pick you out of the stack and I choose to abuse you here on the Ask Anything Wednesday segment that we're going to do every week, I'll spot you a free lesson, free hour with me on Zoom. The dogs and I, okay? All right. Anyway, take care. Long tones. All right. Don't you ignore me. Though you got to do those long tones. And you got to, and you don't do those long tones. So anyway, you will find amazing things happen when you start tuning with your ears and doing long tone practice, okay? Hey, be good, practice hard, play, be kind to each other, and I'll see you back here. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. DaveGoodSax@gmail.com.